Hi guys, this is RS again, and today we'll be doing another poem. It's Abou Ben Adhem, and it is by Leigh Hunt. Leigh Hunt is a poet from the Romantic movement that developed in England sometime in the 1800s. The poem celebrates a very important aspect, that is loving your fellow man. It has a very compassionate humanitarian theme, so to speak. So, getting on with the poem. Alright then. There are certain things that I would like to discuss before we get on with the poem. So, let's talk about the title first. So, the poem's title is Abou Ben Adhem. That's wonderful. But we not only look into the character of Abu, but we also look into what qualities does Abu embody. So not only are we here praising Abu the man, Abu the saint, Abu the leader, but we're also trying to understand what makes Abu such a great guy. And thereby the poet is here trying to teach us or trying to direct us towards a better mode of life, right? Secondly, we also have the form. It is an 18-line poem. It is separated into two parts, two stanzas. The first part is quite long. It is of 14 lines, while the second part is just of 4 lines, right? It provides the last 4 lines of the poem, provides the conclusion, which has a sort of happy climax in it. Like it is, the reader is quietly pleased and quietly surprised by the development that occurs at the end of the poem. It has a regular rhyming scheme, meaning it goes like A, B, B, C, C, D, D. It's going regular. You don't have to figure out it. It's not that hard, right? Then we have certain poetic devices or figures of speech that have been used in the poem. The first of which is assonance. Now, what is an assonance? An assonance is the repeated sound of the regular repetition of sound of vowel sounds, right? So let's suppose we have in the second line a deep dream of peace. So that is what Abu is experiencing before he noticed the angel's presence in the room. So this repetition of the sound E, deep dream of peace, that is an example of assonance. Next we have a simile. A simile is obviously equating or comparing common quality between two unlikely things, right? So over here we have the moonlight that is in Abu's room being compared to the lily that is in bloom. However, in the simile there is also an implied meaning. So the moonlight is providing Abu peace. The moonlight is a manner of blessing Abu as well. See, Abu is this saintly man, right? So the presence of the moonlight is a way of nature blessing Abu as well, to have a very peaceful, well-deserved rest after working so hard throughout the day for looking after the fellow man, right? Now the lily in bloom. So the lily also has certain meaning implied in this particular image, but we'll get back to it a bit later. So we also have symbolism. So the symbolism stands in the image of the lily, in the image of the book of gold, in which the angel was writing down the names. So these have certain symbolic aspects, some symbolic significance, and they add to the layered meaning of the poem. Next we have imagery. Now what is an imagery? It's very simple. An imagery is how you describe a particular scene that you see before you, right? But the way you describe it is in a way you're trying to put in some extra meaning, some extra relevance to that description, to that particular image that you see before you. So very simply explaining this would be, you see in the very first stanza, in the third line, we're describing the room as it is showered in moonlight. It is filled with moonlight, right? But in the last stanza, we see when the angel comes the second night, there is this great awakening light. So these contrasting images, by using the figure of the light, by using the idea of the light, creates an imagery. And obviously it has some significance. getting on with the poem. So, if we look at the first stanza, we see that, in the very first line, the poet praises Abou the man. And in the very first stanza as well, he also describes the event that happened during the night. So, there is an angel that comes into the room. Abou is sleeping at that time. He has no idea. He suddenly wakes up, perhaps realizing that some uncalled for guest has suddenly entered the room. Anyways, he sees that this angel is sitting. Is he sitting or is he hovering? Is he flying? I have no idea. The angel is there. And he has a book of gold, right? And this angel is writing something in this book of gold. Okay. Abou is curious. He's a very curious person. He's made bold by the presence of the angel, right? So we realize that he's a very curious person. We learn that he is without guilt, otherwise he would have shrunk in fear in seeing the angel. And he asks, what is this angel writing? And he says that I'm writing all those people who love God. And Abou says, write my name. Sorry, is my name there as well? And the angel says, no, yours is not. See, Abou is a bit shocked. Okay, fine, my name isn't there, dude, I'm doing the God's good work. Anyways, Abou is a bit shocked. But then again, he requests the angel. What? To write his name as one that loves his fellow man. That is the first answer. So if we look into the first answer a bit closely and try to see what are the significance of these various, information, we would notice that the moonlight and the color of a lily in bloom produces serene and pure atmosphere. And Abou is thus blessed with a restful night of sleep, right? Restful sleep. The image of the lily itself symbolizes devotion and humility. Thus, the lily can very well stand for Abou himself. The gold, the book of gold, symbolizes divinity, glory. It also symbolizes passion, wisdom, illumination. So, when Abou asks the angel, what are you writing? The angel says that I'm not writing your name, dude. I'm writing someone else's name who loved God. And Abou is for a moment shocked, what the hell? But that book effectively gives Abou the opportunity to learn something about himself. That the fact that his name is not in that book will not stop him from doing God's good work, from loving fellow men to looking after fellow men. So the book effectively, the book of gold effectively is symbolizing, is presupposing Abou's eventual enlightenment, eventual gain of knowledge. So the book is a precious object and is thus instrumental in helping Abou gain his wisdom. So thus Abou is humbled, and at the same time he is enlightened when he learns his name is not there, and that his request is not only accepted but is also rewarded, is validated by the angel's next visit. So we have the very short in the second stanza coming up. It doesn't tell much. It isn't much happening over there. Just the angel comes the second night and he says that yes, a request has been accepted, and the angel's arrival is marked by a different sort of light. There is a great awakening light, and the angel now showed Abou a book. We do not know whether it's the same book or not that he was carrying with him the last night. It could be, it could not be. It doesn't matter. So, and in that book, Abou is shown the names of all those whom God's love has blessed. And surprise, surprise, Abou tops the list. It is his name in the beginning. So, what does this stanza then show us? We learn, obviously, that the light is different. As I said before, a use of imagery has been applied over here to create a contrast. While Abou in the first night was a simple man who was doing God's good work, in the second night he becomes a man who is far greater than his fellow men, not just by his deeds, but by his innate morality. He becomes a person who loves his fellow man, irrespective of the fact whether he is rewarded by God or not for his devotion, for his work. So that light signifies enlightenment. And Abou is blessed for loving his fellow men. Thus, we understand that he is a religious leader, and he takes the opportunity to look after his fellow men. Secondly, we understand that the purpose of religion is to love and be compassionate and be of service to other human beings. It is not just showing your devotion to God, but it's also showing your compassion to other fellow creatures of God Himself. And that sort of wraps up the idea of the poem, right? So we have some related questions that I would like to share with you people. So, how has the room been described on the night of the angel's visit? I mean, the first visit, and what was the angel doing? Very simple. You compare with the moonlight, you compare with Lily, and we talk about what he was doing, writing the names of all those who loved God in the Book of Gold. What is the importance of the Book of Gold? So, you not only talk about the symbolic importance of the Book of Gold, noting all the important keywords that I mentioned, as well as you mention how the Book of Gold is instrumental in helping Abu finding his humility, his purpose in this world, right? What was Abu's response to the angel's answer? So he cheerily replied. Please use the word cheerily. He cheerily replied. So at first he was a bit humbled, but then he replied cheerily and requested to put his name in the book, or to include his name in the book as one who loves his fellow man. Why did he do so cheerily? Because he was humbled, but it did not deter him from doing God's good work. What does the ending of the poem signify? Very important. It just shows that God would reward those. The fact that God blessed Abu for continuing to do his duty to his fellow man, irrespective of the fact whether he is rewarded for his duty or not, showed that what we must do out of our innate sense of goodness, and not for a search for a reward from a higher power or for anyone else. This is a very important message I think, in any time, current, contemporary, or modern, doesn't matter. It is a very important message. And lastly, give a brief character sketch of Abu, in which you mention how he was resting, how he's without any guilt because he's resting, how he was curious, how he was made bold when he saw the angel, how he was humbled, how he spoke cheerily nonetheless, and at the end we also show that it was Abu's goodness that made him, a perfect candidate to receive God's blessing. That's it. I hope you enjoyed the video. Just for the sake of fun, I also, made a list of some extremely related and compelling questions which will not be coming in any examination. So what do you think Abu's dream was about? I'm really curious to know about your response to that. And do you think the angel's visit was a violation of privacy? I mean, I would totally, think that's a violation of privacy. I mean, there's a reason I lock my doors. We all lock our doors at night. And what would you have done if an angel dropped in one night when you were sleeping? I personally would have probably dropped back on my bed unconscious or maybe dead. Anyway, so this is it. Thank you so much for watching, and if you have any doubts or queries, anything, or seek any help regarding your answers, you can drop in a mail at the description, at the mail ID in the description box. And thank you so much.